Welcome everybody to our fifth live stream of Lockdown 2021 with Josie Askin from Spring Coaching. Hi, I'm Mark Skelly. I'm the President and Acting CEO of the Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce. I'm really pleased to be able to introduce Josie today. Josie's all about performance and wellbeing coaching for people in business, and today's live stream that she'll be running is all about taking control back to improve wellbeing and resilience. Spring Coaching supports driven business owners and leaders to achieve and sustain improved performance and productivity without burnout. As Jody told me, the hard and fast approach may be beneficial in the long term, but the short-term uncertainty is hitting us all more than ever. In fact, a recent survey that Josie was sharing actually showed that small business owners who were surveyed, the majority are stressed, no surprises there. Feeling anxious, no surprises there. What was interesting though was that the survey showed half of business owners were burnt out and a quarter were feeling depressed. So this issue is a really, really big issue. It's something that I see every day, Chamber sees every day, and Josie is a really experienced expert in. So today, Josie is going to talk about both the small and mighty things that we can do to take control back to improve well-being and resilience. She's going to cover things like accepting where you're at, how to turn stress from foe into friend, how stress plus rest equals growth and resilience, becoming comfortable with uncertainty with a focus on control. She'll share some practical tips for performance and well-being during lockdown and where to go for more help. As always, if you've got questions that you'd like addressed during the live stream, chuck them into the comment section on Facebook. We'll be looking at those as we go through the live stream today, and we'll attempt to address those as we go. That's it from me. I'm going to hand across to Josie now, and she will take us through the live stream. Josie.
Hello, and thank you so much, Mark, for that warm introduction. As Mark said, my name is Josie, and I own Spring Coaching. So I help business owners and leaders to really improve their performance and wellbeing, which then flows on to their productivity. And it's funny, before I get going, I'd like to share a story with you. When I was thinking about this presentation, I thought, what am I going to talk about? But more importantly, what am I going to show? Because for those who have seen some of my presentations before, I'm a very visual thinker. I always think in pictures. So they got me thinking about, what does it mean when you think in pictures? And so I always like to turn to my friend Google at times like this, and I typed in visual thinker, and not popped a little quiz that I went through to say, am I a visual thinker? And sure enough, 70% was the way I learned was through visual thinking. I don't know if anyone's ever been to the website BuzzFeed. It's a very intellectual, scientific website with lots of different quizzes like, what Disney princess are you? Or who is your celebrity crush? But there was one that caught my eye, which is where this visual one was, which was, how does your brain work? So I've got a background in psychology. So this really drew me, and I thought, I want to know, how does my brain work? So I answered a few questions, and out popped the answer. And apparently, I have a chaotic brain, which I just couldn't understand that, because here am I, I'm a performance and productivity coach. I help people to manage their thoughts, to manage their time better so that they're on top of their game. How can someone with a chaotic brain be doing that? So then I thought, well, perhaps it's one of those quizzes where no matter what you answer, you get the same result. So I thought I'll do some research, some market research, and I sent the link to my husband. He happened to be on the toilet at the time, but that doesn't matter. I sent him through the quiz to find out what answer he got. And well, he got a different answer. So it does suggest that my brain is chaotic. And the chaotic brain means that apparently you have lots of different thoughts kind of whirring around your head at any one time. You find it really hard to focus and to concentrate on one thing, which is not a sure sign of successful productivity. And you're also prone to stress. So if you think about that for a while, the odds really aren't stacked in my favor in terms of being productive, being a high performer, and also managing stress well. But yet that's what I do. I'm often told that, I'm the most organized person that people know, that I'm a time management magician. How can that be? And the reason for it is I've learned over the years little tricks and things that I can do to help manage all this kind of chaos, tame all these thoughts so that I can move ahead and achieve. And so over the course of today's presentation, I'm really looking forward to sharing some of those ideas with you so that you can also feel really productive and reach and sustain high performance, because ultimately that's what we all want. Now, I'm really conscious that you're all really busy, so thank you so much for tuning in today. I want to ensure that you get lots of value for the session. And with that in mind, I know as a coach, but also as a former teenager, I was once a teenager, that there's a big difference between hearing information and actually doing something with the information. Is that the same for you, Mark? Or is there a bit of a gap between hearing and doing? Yeah. So what I want to make sure happens is that we actually create change by doing stuff, because we can only create change through doing action, not by thinking or hearing action, so by actually doing. And so I would like to encourage you all to get a blank piece of paper and something to write with, just so you're prepared for that when we do this interactive activity. And Mark, I will be checking with you to make sure that you do it too, that we actually get some change. Sound good? Cool. And as Mark said, please do feel free to, put comments into the chat function, ask questions. The more you engage, the more you'll get out of the session. But as a presenter, it's really nice to know that there's someone at the other end of the screen. So you'll get more out of it the more you engage. So with that in mind, hopefully we'll get the presentation up and running. Cool. So taking control and boosting your well-being during uncertainty. I want to start off by checking in with you all. How are you feeling right now? And perhaps this is something you'd like to write down on your piece of paper, or if you're feeling brave, you're welcome to share it in the chat. Because I know, and I've heard this from many people, that this lockdown is really, really hard going. But I can also appreciate that we're going to have a lot of different responses. Some people may be loving lockdown. They love the peace and quiet. They love the solitude. They love being able to just work in their pajamas. Other people like myself may be finding this lockdown more challenging, because although I fully endorse lockdown and staying at home, I feel a little bit like a bird in a cage. I love being at home, but I like to have the control and the freedom to be able to go out when I like. So yeah, just really keen to know, and we'll check back later in terms of how you're feeling, and maybe also write down on your piece of paper, what's one thing that is causing you stress at the moment? And we'll come back to these. So I want to share this with you. This is Google's Wellbeing Manifesto, and it's been doing the rounds a little bit. I'll pause here just for a couple of minutes for you to have a read through. If the text is too small, I'm also happy to circulate this to people. Feel free to send me an email and I'll send it through to you. Okay, so what I really love about Google's Wellbeing Manifesto, and I'm just going to wait for the slideshow. Oh, there we go. Is that's all about acceptance. It's about accepting how you're feeling today, accepting how other people are feeling, accepting that how you're feeling may be very different to how another person is feeling, and also accepting imperfection, that possibly, things may not go according to plan. Technology may not work for you. Your puppy may appear out of nowhere. Things may not go how you want them to be, but to really accept it, a little bit like the weather. The weather is very variable. It can change from day to day. Even here in Wellington, we can have 4 seasons in one day. We're blessed that today it's a beautiful sunny spring day, but at any moment it can start raining. And we don't say to the weather, why are you raining? What's wrong with you? We just accept it for what it is. We accept that the weather is very variable and that it will change. It is what it is. I also love the fact that the Google Manifesto recognizes that we're all different. We all have different experiences. And like I said at the start of the presentation, how you're feeling during lockdown will really depend on your background, your experiences, what sort of personality you have, but also recognizing that at any point in time, that could change. One thing that might bother you one day may not bother you the next day. In fact, it can be very fleeting. It can change by hour or by minute or by second. And I just want to pause here, a quick disclaimer to be a very responsible host. I am confident that this photo with these people being so close together dates before COVID. Just to put that out there, I'm sure it was definitely taken before COVID. But also to think about how at any point in time, we're all on a continuum in terms of our health and well-being. And health and well-being could be your physical, your mental, your spiritual well-being, however you define your health and well-being. At any one time, we're all on a continuum. And our place on this continuum can change again, just like the weather, from day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute. And the good thing about this is that just like the weather, it means that things will always change. So if one day you're feeling really cruddy, the good news is that this too will pass, and perhaps the next day you feel absolutely awesome. So we can be from cruddy to awesome, or anywhere in between on this continuum of health and well-being. I also want to recognize that the continuum isn't linear. It's not like uncooked spaghetti where it's a nice straight line. In fact, it's often got lots of curves and kinks in it. If you've ever seen a diagram of what success looks like, most people think it's this kind of upward straight line, but in actual fact, it's all wiggly and squirrely. And when I was growing up, I coined the term screwed up ball of spaghetti to explain that feeling when you feel like you're not getting anywhere. Possibly it's kind of represents my chaotic brain, I don't know, but screwed up ball of spaghetti at any one time, things seem massive and out of control, but when they're stretched out, we're all on this continuum. So what is stress? What does spaghetti really have to do with stress? Well, I really want to stress that stress is a normal reaction that the body has when changes occur, resulting in physical, emotional, and intellectual responses. So it's completely normal. Humans are made to experience stress. We want to experience stress because some stress is beneficial. So while we all experience stress, how we respond and how we manage stress is key. So I want to show this chart to you to show that some stress can be really beneficial. So you'll see that up one axis we have performance, and going acrosswards we have stress. And I think sometimes that the meaning of life is the bell curve, because everything seems to be represented in a bell curve, particularly in psychology. So we have this beautiful bell curve where if we don't have any stress, we're unchallenged. We can become bored, stagnant, perhaps even feeling like we're in a rut. Now, at the other end, when there's too much stress, again, that can impact on our performance. We can feel distressed. We can be kind of curled up, huddled, comatose, not being able to move because we're so stressed out. And over time, chronic stress can be harmful. So we want to learn how to manage our stress. What we're aiming for is what, top elite athletes, top business people, scientists, and everyone spend hours researching. And that's this thing called peak performance. That's where we find the perfect balance of stress to reach the top level of our performance. I also like to call that the sweet spot of being on top of your game. So I really want to emphasize that stress isn't the enemy. Stress is not a bad thing. It's all about learning to manage stress, and it's about our perceptions of stress. I like to think of rest plus stress equals growth. So repeat that again. Rest plus stress equals growth. It's really about how we balance those periods of stress with rest and recovery in order to be on top of our game to reach that peak performance. And so there's an amazing, fascinating study that shows that stress is actually in the eye of the beholder. So depending on how you perceive stress will depend on how it influences your physiological responses. If you believe on one hand that stress is a performance enhancer, which it is, we saw that with the bell curve, that some stress can help you be at the top of your game. So if you believe that to be the case, that is what the result is. If on the other hand, you view stress as being something really harmful that's going to damage you, then that is the impact. It actually comes down to the way that your blood flows and constriction of blood vessels. So if this is something you want to know more about, it's a whole presentation itself. There is a fantastic TED Talk that I highly recommend called How to Make Your Stress Your Friend. So I really encourage you to look at that, but just to be aware that while stress is normal, stress isn't the enemy, it's how we perceive stress and the way that we manage our stress that is something that we need to work on. And that's what we'll be discussing more today. So stress. One thing I'm hearing time and time again is we're currently in an uncertain environment. That word uncertain is always popping up. And so I think I mentioned that I've got this really good friend called Google. So I thought I want to ask my good friend Google, what is the leading cause of stress? And I don't know if you've played this game before where you can type something into Google and it pops up with the leading answer of what people are looking for. It's a really great tip for people who like to write content for people. So sure enough, uncertainty is the leading cause of stress. And certainly in this environment that we're in, there's a lot of uncertainty. Now, the reason why uncertainty causes us stress is that we rely on our past experiences to form our future decisions. And when we don't have those past experiences, or our future is uncertain, we're left to rely on guessing or fortune telling. And often fortune telling can lead to catastrophizing. So the interesting thing about fortune telling is that us humans, and including our friend Zoltar there, we have a negativity bias. So we tend to predict the worst case scenarios, which when we're threatened by bears eating us and tigers and all these kind of extreme stresses, that made us survive. If we didn't have the worst case scenario, that negativity bias, we probably wouldn't survive as a species. But in today's world, where there aren't tigers and bears chasing us, this negativity bias of always predicting the worst can cause stress and anxiety. And that's certainly what's going on at the moment. So how do we manage this? What can we do? But this is where we get to get interactive. So what I'd want to do is take you through an exercise, and there's going to be quite a few little cues and prompts, and I'll be doing it alongside you, and so will Mark, because we'll be testing him at the end. Yep. To see what we can do about managing this uncertainty. So first things first, and don't worry, like I said, I'll be alongside you. I want to encourage you. We're going backwards. That's okay. Remember, life's not perfect. We just accept it for what it is. To get a blank piece of paper. So we've got quite a few animations happening at the moment. So we've got our blank piece of paper, voila, just like that. And I would like you to draw a circle in the center. So you see, nothing too tricky at the moment. We can do this. We're going to do it together. I'd like you to add a smile, add a couple of eyes, maybe some here. And this was really tricky to do, by the way, on the computer, and make it you. So name yourself. Now we're going to draw a bigger circle around you. Beautiful. How are we all doing? How are you going there, Mark?
It's all good and coming along.
Okay, label it control. And then the area outside the circle, we're going to label it concern. So this is a really fun activity. This is where we get down to nuts and bolts. In the area of concern, write down all of the things that you worry about, but you don't have control over. It's a little bit like a cooking show. I prepared some for us, but please take the time to write down some things that are causing you concern. So some of the ones that I came up with is when will the alert levels change? Because, it's nice to be able to plan and prepare. About the COVID situation overseas, all of those statistics, they can be quite scary. Queues, when you go to the supermarket, are you going to have to queue up? Likewise for getting a vaccine, lots of things. So write down all of the things at the moment that are causing you concern. And have a look at them and just reflect on how you're feeling at the moment when you look at all those things causing you concern. How are you feeling at the moment, Mark, looking at the things causing you concern?
Oh, it's a long list. How much time have we got here?
Yeah, it can be a little bit doom and gloom. It's a little bit stressful. Let's move on to the happier part. Let's write down all of the things in our life that we have control over in the control circle. And again, like a cooking show, I've prepared some for us, but feel free to write down the things for you. So some of the things that I have control over are things like my thoughts and my actions, how I eat and drink and what I eat and drink, whether or not I stay home or not, what time I go to bed, what I wear, whether or not I call a friend. There's lots and lots of things in my circle of control. In fact, I would say that there's actually more things in the circle of control than in the circle of concern. How are you doing there, Mark?
I'm trying to figure out which type of single malt whiskey I drink tonight's going to be internal or external control. I think it's internal.
I think if you get to choose which sort of whiskey and whether you drink the whiskey, that's something you've got control over.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That's a big decision. Yeah, I like it. It's like, what burger will I have on Friday night?
Yeah.
Okay, next step, step 7. We're almost there. So I want you to look at all of those things in your circle of control, and I want to encourage you to pick just one thing that you have control over, and make that your focus for today. Because I've found with my chaotic brain that when we focus on one thing, we're more likely to achieve it, and then we can move on to the next thing. Focusing on one thing at a time is a surefire way to improve your productivity. So pick one thing, make that your thing to focus on, and I do have a handy tool to help you make that happen in a second. But finally, once you've picked something for today, then pick something for tomorrow, and then the next day. So create yourself a list of things that you've got control over. And I really love the saying from Stephen Covey, who is the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I use his resources and tools a lot with my clients to help them really improve their performance and their productivity. So if you really want to improve your situation, work on the one thing that you have control of, and that is yourself. Okay, so I'm going to go through some key messages, and because we're now in alert level 3, yay, we have some takeaway tips. The key things I want you to take away from today's session is the importance for your health and well-being of acceptance. Accepting how you're feeling today, just like you'd accept the weather, but also accepting that other people may be feeling different to the way that you're feeling, and accepting that sometimes things won't go according to plan, but that it's all okay. It's okay to not feel okay. And I know it's very cliche, but accepting things for what they are, accepting there's some things that you can't control, is a really good thing to really help boost your health and well-being. My second takeaway tip for today's session is to focus on what you can control, because that's where you'll start to feel more powerful. When we only focus on the things that we can't control, we can start to feel quite helpless, almost like a victim. So we want you to feel powerful and mighty and productive to help you achieve everything you want to achieve. And you can do that by focusing on those things that you have control over. Take back the control. My third tip, and I do appreciate that this will be quite challenging for some people, and that's as much as possible, follow your normal routine. Routines are key. When you have a routine that you follow, you feel like you have more control and more certainty in your life. And during times of uncertainty, it's really nice to have something that you can rely on. So I do appreciate that if there's children running around the house and other madness happening, that this can be challenging to do. But if you can, as much as possible, follow the routine. That means, unfortunately, getting out of your PJs when you wake up in the morning and doing things like that. Setting boundaries and sticking to them. So when we're working from home, sometimes those boundaries between work and home life can become blurred, and we can end up working more hours than we normally would at the office. And so I'd encourage you to maybe have a conversation with those that you live with, those that you love, about where your boundaries are, what are you willing to do, and think about how would you expect other people to be? Would you expect other people to work in the evenings or first thing in the morning? Just deciding where your line is in terms of how much work and what is realistic for you. Final tip, please, please, please don't drown. Put your hand up and ask for help if you need it. I can't stress this enough. It's a real sign of strength to be able to ask for help. So yeah, I really encourage that. But there's a lot of resources and support out there for you at the moment. This slide has a fantastic PDF with a link there for you on the COVID site, where it has a range of different support services available to you, listed by different categories. And the one in particular that I wanted to bring your attention to, given we are talking about stress and health and well-being, is that free helpline 1737. This is a fantastic service that's 24/7, that if ever you need someone to talk to, you can just contact this number and there'll be a trained counsellor on the other end of the phone to help you. It's a service I'm always recommending to clients. I've used it myself. I highly recommend it. So don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. So how can I help you? Because That's why I do what I do. I love to help people. That's my biggest motivation. So a few ways I can help you. In a second, we're going to have a quick look at my website. Actually, let's go there now. So we'll go to spring-coaching.co.nz. And here there are 3 things to help you. You just need to pop over a slide. Yay, cool. Okay, so the first thing I want to bring your attention to is the big yellow button near the bottom. So it says download your day planner. I know that's all very well and good planning to do something or saying you're going to do something, but often time gets busy and it doesn't happen. And so there's a free day planner there that helps you prioritize the things that you want to focus on. And so you do make those things that are the things that you have control over actually happen. The second one I want to bring your attention to is in my blog. On the second page, at the bottom of that page, there's an article that I wrote for Health 2000 last year. It was actually during this time as well, during COVID, around how to tame anxiety, how to manage stress. So a lot of what I've covered in today's session is there in a really handy article for you to read at any time. And please read it. And finally, the other way that I can help you today is I offer a service which is a complimentary coaching call for 20 minutes where you can give me a call. I'm there to support you in any way that I can. I can answer questions. I can provide further clarification on anything we've talked about today. But also, if you just want someone to talk to, if you just want someone to hold space for you and to listen to you, I'm happy to do that too. So that's the third way that I can help you today. So please feel free to book in for one of those complimentary discovery calls. I also really recommend that you follow me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And several times a week, I share valuable tips on how to improve your performance, your well-being, and ultimately your productivity. So again, some free resources there for you to use to really help you through this challenging, uncertain time. But finally, of course, how can you help other people? Because, being kind is what we're all about right now. We're a team of 5 million. So I encourage you to check in with other people. Ask how they're doing. Really listen to them. Hold space for them as well, and just to validate how they're feeling. Also, feel free to share this presentation. The Hutt Chamber of Commerce is amazing at always making resources available. So I'm sure that this recording will be available that you can share with other people. So please share it. Share any of the resources I've discussed today with other people. We're all in this together. Let's help each other. So please feel free to do that. And of course, please take care of yourself and other people. Often we prioritize other people's needs first and we forget about ourselves. But you can only help other people if you help yourself first. So we can't serve from an empty glass. So take care of you and take care of other people. And I think, final quote to sum it all up into one little neat package here. So you can't control, so you can't calm the storm. So stop trying. But what you can do is calm yourself, and the storm will pass. And thank you so much for having me here today. It's been really lovely to share all this with you. How did you get on, Mark, with your diagram? Can you hold it up so we can see?
Absolutely. I knew you'd ask, so I thought I'd better make sure I've got it for you. So I moved away from paper several years ago, so I'll give you a screen.
Oh, that's beautiful. I like it here.
Looks just like me, right?
Yeah, that looks really good. How did you find that?
It's really good, yeah. So I really like the message you were getting out there about acceptance, and just being okay with what is going on, and being okay with what you can and cannot get done. So I know for me personally, one of the things that I work really strong and hard for myself is to accept what I call the worst case scenario. And so that's for me about how I choose what I get done or don't get done, and how I work with the things that don't get done. So, my list and the team at the Chamber know right now I'm running a business and acting CEO of the Chamber. So my list is long. And so how I deal with that is go, well, this I can get done. What's the worst case scenario if that doesn't happen today? And for me, and I'm sure yourself, Josie, and lots of others watching, often the worst case scenario is actually a lot less than we think it is.
Indeed, yes.
The world typically doesn't stop turning, and the storm does pass, doesn't it, like you said?
It does, yeah. And I remember doing this amazing course a while ago called Change Beliefs and how to help people change their beliefs. And there's one step which was called what ifing. And that's something that we all do all the time, what if, what if, what if? And with our negativity bias, we often go to that worst case scenario. And through this course, you work with people to actually change it around to use the power of what ifing, but for the positive. So what if it's a fantastic sunny day? What if you have the best coffee ever? What if, and actually make it be about the positive? Because in reality, it's just as likely to happen as the negative. It's just we've been programmed to focus on the negative first. So it's an interesting kind of fun thing to do, is to focus on the positive.
That's really great. Thank you so much, Josie. Thank you so much for your time today. I know you put a lot of thought and effort into preparing the content for today. It was really useful. I'll go back to my circle and do some more work on it. I probably could have used some more time than the time we had during the live stream to work through those. So I'd encourage everybody else to do the same thing. I know writing stuff down is a really good way to get clarity and get stuff out of your head. And so again, just to re-emphasize what Josie was saying towards the end about getting some help, reach out to somebody you know. Josie's made an incredibly generous offer today to take some calls and to be that person. If it's not Josie, call your friends, call the helplines. Often just getting thoughts out of your own head and talking to somebody else. I think you used the word carrying the space for somebody is perfect. And just get out of the busyness of your own head. So take up that offer from Josie. Jump on her website, look at those resources. And do that to look after yourself, look after your family, and look after your team. The people around you and the people that are working for you have got the same stuff going on for them. I was just talking to a client this morning, Josie, who was unsure about bringing some of their staff back to work. They've been touching base every couple of days. And one of their team came back today and shared how grateful they were to be back at work, because the anxiety and lack of routine was really extreme for her, but didn't feel comfortable sharing it on the phone or on a Zoom call. But when she came back into the workplace, she shared how grateful she was to be back. Now, I'm raising that because the business owners thought she was fine and thought bringing her back to work was going to create more anxiety. So you just never know what's going on inside somebody's head. And the more you can do to help them with this and share this with your team is good for you. It's good for them. It's good for us all.
Yeah, uncertain.
Yeah. We've got some changes going around in the background. Annette's working her magic. Look, thanks again, Josie. Thanks everybody for being here today. This is our 5th live stream. We have another live stream tonight, which is a little bit different. It's not a COVID-related live stream. It's where, as a chamber, we've changed what would have been one of our in-person events to be a live stream event. That's at 5:30 tonight. Thursday, the 2nd of September, and that's all about the Riverlink project. So Riverlink is a massive infrastructure project that's going to be taking place in Lower Hutt over the next several years. You've probably heard the name, but you may not really know what it's about. It's the largest infrastructure project that's ever taken place in Lower Hutt. It's going to deliver some fantastic benefits for the entire Lower Hutt region and, in fact, impact the entire valley. And with a large infrastructure project, there are some inevitable disruptions and impacts that can occur. We're working really hard with the Riverlink project to help minimise those and keep everybody in the business community informed about what's going on, so that you can make plans and that you're aware of what's happening to minimise the disruption and maximise the advantages of that project as it rolls out. So that's tonight, again on Facebook live stream. So tune back in then. Other than that, stay strong out there. If you're trading in level 3, I hope you're going well. I hope you're staying safe. And we get back down to some lower levels as soon as we can. Stay safe, everybody. We'll talk soon. Bye.